most exciting sport in the world. The speed, the insane hits, the raucous energy of the crowds. No, it ain't badminton. This is an advisor's life. We're talking hockey. If you're in the world of junior hockey, if you've ever dreamed of making it to the NCAA or the pros, if you've ever wondered about the pitfalls and the costly mistakes that players and parents can make along the way, you're in the right place. Here to educate you beyond the smoke and mirrors, beyond the propaganda that leagues and teams use to manipulate you into making decisions that could cost you your career or your hard-earned money. We don't pull punches. This ain't a popularity contest. Just the real and the raw, no matter who may get their little feelings hurt. Disrupting the status quo. This is an advisor's life with your host, Joseph Kolodziej. Truth bombs coming in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, welcome to this edition of An Advisor's Life. I'm your host, Joseph Kolodziej, and I've been a family advisor for 31 years now. And a lot's changed over those 31 years, and a lot continues to change as hockey rapidly evolves. Wow. And there's more change coming. So we're going to talk about that change, and we're going to talk about your plans and how to execute those plans as it relates to playing NCAA hockey or college hockey in Europe or something along those lines. But before I get into that, legal disclaimer. This is not specific advice what you should or shouldn't do with your particular hockey career. This is general information that we would provide any hockey talent management client and any person who calls for a no cost or obligation consultation. So, I get a lot of emails and a lot of messages from social media, and people are always saying, okay, well, what should I plan? What should I plan? And because I always harp on this issue to our clients as much as I harp on it for any person who calls us. You guys are hockey players, and from the time you're 10, 12 years old now, your coaches are talking about game plans. And they're talking about how you're going to execute your forecheck, how you're going to execute your penalty kill, your power play. These are all real important pieces of the game. So when you're 14, 15, 16 and up, and you say you want to play college hockey, and then I always ask, okay, great, that's fantastic. So what's the plan? Well, last October, when the NCAA made the ruling that CHL players were now allowed to play NCAA hockey, and oh, by the way, now it looks like the NCAA only recognizes the NHL and KHL as truly professional leagues, since they're allowing American Hockey League veterans and East Coast Hockey League veterans to play NCAA games. Wow, you guys really need to get your act together. So let's talk about those plans now. You think that even though you're a top performer on your team at the AAA level or even at the Tier 3 level, that you should automatically move up. Well, that's not the case. It's simply not the case. There are so many teams now that the teams at the higher levels can't get to see everyone. So it's going to be impossible for them to just say, oh, hey, look at so-and-so on the score sheet. Let's call them up. No. So you have to be executing a plan to develop relationships with coaches at the next level now. If you think that you can Just go to camps in the spring and summer and develop those relationships, and that's going to get you moved up. You're delusional. You don't understand how this works. You can no longer say if they're good enough, they'll find you. That's a lie. You need to be working on developing relationships with coaches at the next level. And if you're a 20-year-old player this year, working on connecting with and developing relationships with NCAA coaches now, this is not urgent. It's an emergency situation. These contacts have to be made now. They have to be constant, and you've got to provide them good information that is going to make them want to take action. And take action is in scouting you. So let's keep in mind that geography has a lot to do with scouting. So if you're playing on a team in Florida, Louisiana, South Carolina, or whatever, and you think a school is flying down from Boston to come and watch you play, it's not happening. Maybe they'll watch you online. Maybe they'll watch you in person when you get to the playoffs, if you get to the playoffs. So you really got to have a much better plan in place than just performing, because performing is only part of the equation now. And when I come back after the break, we're going to talk about the hierarchy of the leagues and where coaches and scouts are going and how that's going to impact you and the best way for you to make something happen for next year, this year. And I'll be back after this break.
When it comes to getting to the next level, there is only one name you need to know. Hockey Talent Management. The gold standard in player advisor services for nearly 30 years. Helping players and families get to NCAA, junior, and professional hockey leagues around the world. When you are ready to really reach for your dreams, it can only be Hockey Talent Management.
Welcome back. So let's talk about the hierarchy of things. All right. If you guys want to play Division I college hockey, there are 4 main leagues: Western Hockey League, OHL, Quebec Major Junior League, and USHL. That's where 95% of D1 commitments are coming from moving forward. You're going to get some D1 commitments from 20-year-olds coming out of the North American Hockey League, the NCDC, and the BCHL. If there's any D1 coming out of the other Canadian junior leagues, it's going to be 2 handfuls. That's it. If college hockey teams are going to Canada to scout, they're going to scout the major junior leagues. They're not going to scout junior A. That's at the Division I level. So let's understand that and be able to make decisions appropriately based on that information. Look, their drafts, all these league drafts are telling you where to play. The league drafts don't lie. So if your goal is to play major junior, USHL, tier 2 in the NA, NCDC, BCHL, whatever, the draft will tell you where you need to be playing now. So if you're a 16-year-old who thinks you're going to get drafted into tier 2 by playing tier 3, go look at the draft results because you should be playing AAA. If you're a 17 or 18-year-old thinking you're going to get drafted into any of these leagues by playing tier 2 or playing tier 3, go look at the draft results. It's not happening. Now, if you're already playing tier 2, NA, NCDC, BCHL, something along those, and you're a high performer, then those doors are going to open for you at the major junior and USHL levels. Otherwise, what are you doing? Do not try to rush the process. You're not going to change how things work. You're not that special. It's time you understand that. If you were that special, you'd already be in the players to watch list for the NHL. It's time to get realistic. It's time to make real plans based on reasonable expectations. What you may have believed to be true last summer is no longer true. The world changed. October of 2024 really changed everything. I mean, it's been a year and we're still feeling the fallout. And I frankly, I think we're going to experience fallout from this rule change for another 12 to 24 months, and certainly 12 months from now when the NHL CHL development agreement is rewritten. Then we're going to have some other changes happening in junior hockey as it affects NCAA opportunities. You know, if you're a young guy now not playing junior, or even if you are playing junior and you're in high school, man, more than ever, it is very important to focus on your grades. Because if you're not playing D1 and you're trying to get into D3, the opportunities at the D3 level are not expanding as quickly as the number of players that are capable of playing at D3. So you really need to focus on your grades to give yourself an advantage, an edge, if you will, when it comes to the admissions process. So really buckle down on your grades. You know, in the end, we're talking about getting our education for as little money as possible. Let's use hockey as a vehicle to make that happen. You know, there's a lot of really good players out there who aren't going to get a chance to play NCAA at the D1, D2, or D3 level because hockey at the college level cannot expand as quickly as it's needed to in order to allow everybody to have that opportunity. It just doesn't work that way in North America. So more than ever, guys, make a plan. And if you're having trouble making a plan, email me, info@hockeytalentmanagement.com. Every consultation, every first consultation is free and no obligation. I don't put any time limits on it. I'm happy to talk to you about everything. So if you found this informative or entertaining, please like and follow us on all our social media and on this YouTube channel. And I hope you found this entertaining or informative or educational. Once again, I'm Joseph Kolodziej, your host on An Advisor's Life. And until next time, I hope to see you in the rink.
You've been listening to An Advisor's Life. Over the past 3 decades, Joseph has been on every side of the hockey business. Team owner, a general manager, a coach, a league vice president, a player, a family advisor, and an agent. He's worked with everyone from the NHL all the way down the ladder. He's seen it all. For over a decade, he's been writing a column on the Junior Hockey News. Everyone kept telling him, hey, do a podcast. So he's finally taken the plunge. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hit us up on Twitter at junior_hockey, on Facebook at Junior Hockey News, and on Instagram at The Junior Hockey News. See you next time with more Truth Bombs on An Advisor's Life.